and gentlemen, hello and welcome to another edition of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. I am Mr. Warren Hayes, and guess what? Guess what? It's Royal Rumble. It's about to fall on top of us like a ton of amazing, fantastic bricks that smother us and murder us because they're heavy. It's a ton of bricks, but also a ton of bricks filled with joy. And we're doing Royal Rumble predictions tonight. And I'm doing them with my pal, my chum, my comrade in arms from the Smark to Death podcast, uber successful
oh God,
benchmark, Anthony Suter. Anthony, how you doing?
Man, you can't use benchmark to describe me. You know why, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, Spees and Silky, they're gonna be fucking pissed.
Spees, but maybe more Chris than Silky, to be perfectly honest.
Probably, yeah, probably.
Chris is a little high strung. Silky's, he's more of a chill guy. I'm gonna be going to see them after this, by the way. Yeah,
I know.
Show later, but right now I want to focus on you, Anthony.
Yeah.
As opposed to what I do usually, as if I never focus on you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Anthony,
yeah, that's true.
I don't know. I mean, there's a very, very fair chance, guys, that if you watch or listen to the Warren Hayes Show, if you watch it here on youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes or over on your favorite podcast application, because I do that thing now, you probably know that Anthony is one half of the very successful Smark to Death podcast. I love these guys. Quick story. When I started doing this like last May, Anthony and Kyle couldn't be here tonight because he's too good for us.
Or like birthday dinner, but
yeah, but I like the idea that he's too good for us.
Fuck that guy.
The Smark to Death guys were one of the first podcasts that I stumbled across, and I thought that their production value was fantastic. Anthony and Kyle have a great dynamic between each other, and I became a Patreon, and I still am to this day. I fully support these guys. They're fantastic, and since then, well, when you spend months and months giving people money, well, then eventually they start talking to you. So Anthony then started talking to me. But why don't tell us a bit for folks out there who don't know exactly what you guys are about? Why don't you tell us a bit about Smark to Death, Anthony?
Yeah, I have a couple things I have to say. Number one, my favorite part about joining your show, and this is the first time I've done it, is I go to Kyle's to record Smark to Death, and I'm not wearing pants right now.
There you go.
And I'm feeling pretty comfortable.
You know what?
Gosh.
Neither am I.
Hey. But also, I was thinking about this the other day. I think you and I were like I think we were live tweeting Raw at the same time, and we were like live tweeting back and forth, and I followed you, and I think I was like, hey, fucking follow back. I think I called you out for not following back, and that's how this all began. With one of us giving each other shit, which is just so fitting. But yeah, Smark to Death, we run down news. We have recently become more of a show where we do talk about wrestling, but we mostly just joke around with each other a lot. But we have a good time doing it. Wrestling is serious. Everyone's got serious opinions. Everyone gets really sensitive. We just fuck around with each other the whole show, I think. But we do run down the hottest topics, give you predictions, give you interviews. We've had some great interviews with Alicia Toot. We've also had Kid Cash, Shane Taylor, Flip Gordon. I think we got one of his first interviews, actually. So, but yeah, Smark to Death, at Smark to Death anywhere. Please follow us. Join us. We will be going live with Mr. Warren Hayes. He'll be doing a trade back and joining us Sunday after the Royal Rumble. So this is a weekend collaboration.
Yes, that'll be a treat. Actually, I'm looking forward to it. And absolutely. I mean, these guys have all sorts of great content, and as opposed to what I do, where I talk mostly WWE here. You guys cover everything. You cover New Japan because you're a big New Japan fan.
Yes.
Of course, you're talking about AEW, Ring of Honor as well. You're actually going to the Ring of Honor show this weekend, right? In San Antone. In San
Antone. Yeah, my wife and I are doing a romantical weekend on the Riverwalk in San Antonio, full of margaritas and Mexican food. But yeah, going to ROH San Antonio. It's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, we cover a lot of Impact on our show too.
Yes.
Which not a lot of people do, because Kyle got me into Impact despite myself not wanting to be into it. But yeah, we cover any promotion that has something going on, basically.
But I mean, it's cool. It's cool now as well that Impact is available on that other platform.
Yeah, Twitch. Just like us, but yeah, Twitch.
So that's really cool, actually. That's that makes it a lot more accessible. Makes it a lot easier to get into it. I know that's made it a lot simpler for me. So there you go. We got a live chat going here right now, Anthony. We got a lot of people in here. We've got a lot of faces that I recognize. We have KNH is here, Brian Payne, Ryan Murphy, K-Pax. We got Darren Kirby was here, Joe Cook, Broken Mike just jumped in, CM Phil, a lot of great people, Hawkeye. And Darren Kirby says, sends you a nice little compliment saying that the Alicia interview was a fire.
I have the chat up. Like, I had to pull the chat up just to see if anyone's talking about me.
Well, I mean,
just making sure.
I'm mostly doing this for the viewing audience, to be perfectly frank, showing that I can interact with my audience as well. Anthony, Jesus Christ. All right, but I mean, if you're watching live right now, guys, do us a favor, do us a solid. Share the link out into the social media at nether regions. And give us a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs up. That YouTube likes that kind of stuff. And if you're watching later, you can still give a thumbs up as well. Consider subscribing to on whatever platform you're finding this. That's fantastic. But let's get into it. Let's start talking about the Royal Rumble. I think this is universal. A lot of people are excited in the chat talking about it. It's like, yeah, Royal Rumble. I think it's universally accepted, Anthony, that wrestling fans, WWE fans, the Royal Rumble always is like on top of the yearly events that everyone looks forward to.
Yeah, I don't know, as a wrestling fan in general, I don't know why you wouldn't love this, right? Because even though we know a lot of the women that are joining, we know a lot of the men that are going to be in the Rumble, we don't know what order, you don't know who's going to be the Iron Man, you don't know what crazy cool spots we're going to see, and there's so much excitement about the Royal Rumble, especially in the WWE and a program and a promotion that is very predictable and stale a lot of times. The Royal Rumble, they can't fuck that up. They have to make that entertaining. It's done for them just by the format, but it's a great pay-per-view. It's a good time of the year. Nothing else is going on in any promotions, and there's always surprises and debuts. Man, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's always a lot of fun. And we like the surprises, right? We like being shocked. And I don't know if you saw this happen. I think it was over this past weekend. You remember? I think it was on Saturday. WWE tweeted out that they were going to announce the participants of the Women's Royal Rumble, and Twitter went bonkers because Twitter didn't want to have any. We want the surprises. We want the shock value. We don't want to have everyone announce, but they didn't announce anything that we didn't already expect or know.
Right.
It was mostly like all the current female roster.
Right.
If you just did a bit of math, and I tweeted this out, it's like they were saying we're starting at 12 p.m. and every half hour we'll announce a new entrant. I'm like, well, if they're going to do 30, that's like 15 hours. Mm-hmm. That doesn't make sense. That's not conducive. That's not good marketing. It just didn't make sense. But yeah, I think you agree, or maybe not, that the surprise factor, just by seeing that reaction that people had, the surprise factor is essential.
Yeah, it is essential. I thought it was interesting that Twitter got so upset about that. We talked about this last night on Smark to Death too, but we neither Kyle or I, and I definitely don't have an issue with them doing this because the women don't get a lot of time on TV anyway. So this is like a new, interesting, innovative way for WWE to utilize this massive platform they have in social media and announce it. It's still fun. It's still interesting, and it's no different than any other year. It was just announced on Twitter, not Raw.
And let's be honest, they did a better job doing it on social media than they did on Raw.
I mean, to be honest, everything that they do looks better on social media than it does on Raw or SmackDown. So they do a great job.
What did you think of the overall build-up to the pay-per-view, to the Royal Rumble this year? Did you think they did a good job? Are you excited? Anthony, let's pretend that I'm your therapist. Tell me how you feel.
Yeah. Well, it makes me feel excited. There's nothing in. We talked about this off stream right before we jumped on. I'm glad you got the pen. I have a lot to say.
I'm taking copious notes.
We talked about this off stream right before we joined. There's nothing in the build up to this Royal Rumble to really make you excited about it. It's just the pay-per-view itself, which I think works in WWE's favor. I think it works better for them when an event itself is more exciting than the build, because then you can forgive the bad build.
Yeah.
But there's been some okay stuff. The Sasha versus Ronda build just recently got turned up and has been great. Monday night especially was very good. All of a sudden, we've got Finn involved in the main event, which every single person except for the angry people on Twitter are very excited about Finn actually having a meaningful match against fucking Brock Lesnar. That's awesome. And the Rumble, of course, is always interesting. You don't know who's going to win. You have your favorites. We've got your Seth Rollins that keep saying they're going to. We've got your Becky Lynch's you think somehow will end up in it and winning it, because everybody thinks that. But the build's been fine. How about you? What do you? You're way more attentive to everything than I am.
I have a tendency to agree with you. I think that the real moment that I got excited for anything outside of the Rumble matches was when Finn was entered as a replacement for Braun, because I don't think that they were. Well, let's talk about that. Why don't we talk about that? About Braun's substitution. He was injured recently, or at least recently over the fall. Had to take some time off to get surgery. It was a nagging injury that he was refusing to get surgery. He was refusing to take some time off, but now he was confronted with the fact that he had to get the surgery. They bring him back, and he gets inserted into the Universal title program, which is what we kind of expected, but. And he gets taken out. We don't know if he was ready to go or not. What's your take? How do you feel about about Braun being removed from the match, from the main event?
I thought he was still rehabbing until Monday when he took spots, because he was involved in that match.
And not only did he take spots, he took a coup de grace.
Right.
And I mean, it's his shoulder that hurt, and Finn lands on your goddamn chest. That's. Kudos to Braun for taking that one, for saying, yeah, man, let's just do it.
I mean, he's a massive dude, and Finn's 105 pounds, dripping, soaking wet. So, I mean...
I know, but I mean,
he probably warms up with that in the gym.
He warms up with Finn? What are you trying to say?
Yeah, just Finn in general. He just curls him. Just fucking curls the man.
I thought he would takes him and presses him gently against his massive Braun chest.
just warms, coddles. Oh, This is not a wrestling podcast anymore.
Next week we're starting our fan fiction podcast, guys. It's going to be bananas. All right, sorry.
We're going to be Braun and Finn Stan Army. No, I thought Braun was truly still injured. I really did. But now that he's taken some spots, I guess there's got to be some storyline involved. I think it's still directly involved with Brock, regardless of the outcome of the match. That chapter's still not finished.
Right.
It needs to be finished, because I'm not interested in Braun and Brock, which is why all of us got so excited that Braun was removed, because we all loved him, but it's been 6 months too long now. So give us something new. But I don't know. What do you think? What about Braun? You think he's hurt?
Maybe he wasn't quite. I don't think that he wasn't ready. I think he was. I feel that the Braun Strowman Universal Championship situation, I think that ship has sailed. Unfortunately, I think that when he was hot, he was still stuck in the Roman Reigns experiment, and the desire for WWE to put Roman Reigns over at all costs ultimately hurt Braun, because just with the heel turn, late summer, just before Roman had to recuse himself from wrestling. The heel turn did irreparable damage to him because people still wanted to cheer for him, but now he's put in a position where you have to hate him, and you know, heel Braun is not as fun as face Braun. And then you can even add on top of that, the minute that they stop booking Braun as a guy who runs in and tears shit up, that's where it stopped as well. Like that the promo a couple of weeks ago where he was talking to Brock Lesnar, you know, Brock, come out here. You know, the Braun Strowman that we all loved wouldn't have been standing in the ring waiting for Brock Lesnar to come out. He was like, you don't want to come out? I am coming for you, man, and I am going to tear shit up backstage until I find you.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I do have to, before I make my point out that we've done 3 shows together. We did the Diva Dirt show, this one, and then also TLC we reviewed together, you and I.
Yes.
And every fucking time the cops go crazy in my neighborhood, like I heard I don't know if it's because we started talking about fan fiction and starting a fan fiction podcast, but I just hear sirens all over, like 6 cop cars. So I don't think that Canadians and Americans are supposed to work together. I think that the Texas police are very upset.
I think so.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Anyway, but yeah, Braun's heat has been dead for a very, very long time.
Unfortunately.
And I don't even think it was the heel turn that killed it. I think it's when he failed the cash in.
Yeah, that's another fantastic point. You're absolutely right.
Like he failed that cash in, and we won. And the coolest thing about Braun winning the cash in, first off, nobody wanted him to win it. We did, like, Braun won it, and we're like, why the fuck did he need to win it? Because you can just put him in the match anytime. But they give him it, and you start thinking of the positives of it. And one of the positives is truly you could see Braun stand outside of a match, cash in, and beat a tired Brock Lesnar, and we never got that. And that was the moment. And when we never got that, that's the end of Braun. We don't want to see him as champ.
And not even the cash in was failed. The entire briefcase thing was bungled and mishandled because Braun Strowman is not a strategist. You know, he doesn't. I'm going to pick my moment. He announced when he was going to cash in. That's not Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman comes in again. I'm repeating myself. Flips shit over and does what he wants. Right.
And that's when he got so over, is doing these cartoonish 1980s, early 1990s, like wrestler feats of strength where, you know, Kafabe was still alive, if you will.
Yes, I remember when Kafabe was still alive.
I had to do it.
It was alive for like 2 minutes, if I remember correctly. Right. Chat is pretty much agreeing with us. You know, they say that they're happy that Brock was replaced. KNH says happy that not Brock, but Braun was replaced. I do not want to see Braun versus Brock ever again. CM Phil agrees. Bob Aruski says, I think that one crap promo sealed his fate in the spot. By the way, Bob Aruski in the chat. How you doing? Broken Mike
he is right.
Yeah. Broken Mike is saying that he's really hoping Finn takes the title, even though he probably won't. Well, we're going to talk about that a little later. And KNH is all for our fanfic podcast, man.
Hey, let me find out. I got Thursdays open, actually, so you know.
You never know.
Thursdays is 6.
All right, man, let's get to it. Let's start talking about predictions. We are going to run down each of the matches, and I'm doing them in reverse order that they're presented on WWE.com. So this is not like me making an editorial statement. This is how they actually appear in reverse order. So let's start with the first match. U.S. title match. The handsome man Rusev versus former champion Shinsuke Nakamura. Now, Anthony, do we even give a shit?
Does WWE give a shit? When's the last time they've been on TV?
Not this week. They weren't.
No.
I was last week. I think Rusev had a promo.
I watched SmackDown last week. I don't remember.
I don't remember either. I don't
No,
like. I honestly don't remember when Rusev was last on, and it's a shame. It's a shame. But see, what we're talking about Braun. Telling that his ship has sailed. The Rusev Day hype that was organic, that was built out of nowhere, that was built on the strength of Rusev's charming character.
Yeah,
was peaked this at the end of the spring, early summer.
Rusev is different though, right? Like, I know we don't give a shit about this match. I have my winner I'll get to, but Rusev is different, I think, because Rusev is a way more interesting wrestler in ring. And we've seen him as a heel. We've seen him as his goofy face. We've seen him as goofy heel. We've seen him as monster foreign heel. And he's been over no matter what he does. He can be off TV for 6 months, come back, and the man will be over in a matter of minutes. He has Lana with him who's over. Rusev is different. Like, it doesn't hurt him being off TV, but it sure would help us as fans to get to see guys like Rusev on TV. And Nakamura just...
That's the hardest pill to swallow, isn't it? 1 year ago, he was winning the goddamn Royal Rumble. He was in a title match at WrestleMania, and then after. But I mean, it's still a good thing. Like, if we want to do a retrospective, it's still a good thing that they turned him heel, because the face thing was wearing off. It was a good idea to turn him heel because he's done his most interesting character work in WWE as a heel. No speak English and the nut shots and all that.
But that stuff is all gone now.
But it's
he's just boring. He's exactly what we thought he was being turned into. He was interesting foreign heel with the U.S. title, and now he's just foreign heel number 406 and whatever, 462, whatever. However many times they've done this damn gimmick where a foreign guy with an accent is now a bad guy and hates America. But whatever. My pick is Rusev winning via DQ. Nakamura's going to... Yeah, Nakamura will kick him in the nuts or cheat or something, because you got to set up the third match because they've only had... This will only be two.
So, chat, let us know who you think is going to win this match, which will probably be on the pre-show. That's interesting. I don't know how much gas there is left in this. Well, you could argue that there's a lot of gas left in the tank of this feud because they haven't done anything.
Nothing.
But at the same time, I really think that it's time to like they need to move on. I feel like there's something else that has to happen, between these two. I think Rusev retains with a clean win. Okay. But I have no idea what they're going to do with them afterwards. Like, usually I book my predictions like, and then they could go, the next step could be this, but I have no clue.
Yeah, nothing for me. There's like 4 matches on this show that I have an idea of who's going to win, but I have no idea where their story goes next.
And interesting.
It's not bad. That's not a bad thing necessarily.
No, it's not a bad thing. Interesting thing. I was on the Fightful SmackDown post show, and we were talking about the U.S. title itself. I mean, it's one thing to talk about Rusev. It's one thing to talk about Shinsuke. But the U.S. title is like in a no man's land, and this is what I brought up when I was talking about it. And I don't know I want to get your thoughts on this. The last real title holder, U.S. title holder that I remember, and I'm like, oh yeah, this was really good, was Kevin Owens when he was the new face of America. Yep. After that, I remember Bobby Roode having the title, but I don't remember Bobby Roode doing anything exceptional with it. But that is all I remember about the U.S. title.
Bobby Roode not doing anything exceptional sounds like his entire main roster run. Actually, you could probably just label it.
He has a cool tag team finisher with Gable, though. That moonsault into the neck breaker thing there, that's pretty sweet. Yeah,
the Revivals is pretty cool, too.
The who?
Revivals.
Who are these guys? Never heard of them. Shout out to Chris Spizak. The chat is pretty much agreeing with us. Rusev is going to come out on top of this one. KNH even says IC title greater than US title. That is I mean, to be perfectly honest, the hardcore championship is over the U.S. title these days.
No kidding.
All right, the next match. This is what I'm excited about. The Cruiserweights 205 Live champion Buddy Murphy in a fatal four-way against Kalisto, Akira Tozawa, and Hideo Itami. Now, I watch 205 Live religiously. I love it. I love Buddy Murphy. I love Hideo Itami. Akira Tozawa's fun. And then there's Kalisto. So, I don't know how invested you are into this match, Anthony, but this is one I'm looking forward to.
I don't watch 205 Live at all. I couldn't tell you the last time I turned it on. But I do know that all of these men are talented and that Kalisto does exist and is 1/3 of Lucha House Party and will probably botch because that is his whole MO. Because I don't watch this program, though, I'm going to go with Buddy Murphy retaining. I am aware that there's a big movement that people think Hideo Itami is winning. It does seem like that's like the favorite pick.
I think it's weird. Chat, let us know who you think is going to win the Fatal 4-Way. I think it's really weird that there are people who are behind Hideo Itami winning, not because he wouldn't be a good choice.
Right.
Au contraire. Buddy Murphy right now, man, he is the champ. Like, he's the Chasey. I think I've said this 3 times over the last 3 shows that I've done talking about this particular match. He's the final boss of 205 Live. Like, he's the guy that you're gunning for, and he's spectacular, and he looks like a champ. He handles himself like a champ. He's big, he's beefy. He's not 205. He's not 205 pounds.
Minimum of 220. Minimum.
He can't be. He's too big. But he's amazing, and he's delivered fantastic matches so far. I think it's too early to take the belt off of him. Yeah. He's too much of he's the target, man. He's the guy you want to take down. So I really think really think Murphy retains. But then again, putting the belt on Hideo Itami, especially since he's been in this angle for a while. Like his character is like, respect me. That's what he says. It's like he's looking for respect. Commentary putting over the fact, he's a legendary Japanese wrestler, but he's never got the success or the recognition that he has here in that he feels he should get in North America. So of course, putting the belt on Itami would be like the consecration. Be like, this is now you don't have a choice to respect me because I'm the champion, right?
Right. And the chat looks like they're agreeing too, is that Buddy Murphy will win, and that nobody believes that Buddy Murphy is actually 205. But just me, like, I don't watch the show, and even me as someone that doesn't watch the show, when I think of 205 Live, I don't think of Cedric Alexander. Like I am now that I'm in the thick of talking about it, but I think of Buddy Murphy. Yeah, I do. Absolutely. And I think that makes it very evident that he is the total package. He has become synonymous with the brand, just like Neville was when he was there. You thought of Neville, you didn't think of Austin Aries, and unlike whenever Enzo was champ, where you didn't think about 205 Live at all.
No, you just didn't. Kevin Carroll asks, who's in the best position on 205 Live to take the belt from him, Buddy Murphy? I would have thought Ali before his call up. I agree. I'll be like, if you ask me right now, I think we're in a bit of a no man's land as far as who is a credible wrestler to take the title off of not Mustafa Ali, but Buddy Murphy. I think outside of Cedric Alexander, and I hope they don't go back to that well too much, because I'm kind of done with Cedric Alexander as a character, not as a performer. But anyway, I don't want to get too much into it. But I think that if they did give a proper build to it, putting it on Hideo Itami would be fantastic. Otherwise, Leo Rush. It's Leo Rush could you imagine Leo Rush and Bobby Lashley on Raw, both with their straps? That'd be amazing.
Excuse you, it's the Almighty.
Oh, sorry,
Bobby Lashley.
Yes,
the Almighty.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Show him your favorite pose, Warren.
Oh wait, I'm not wearing pants. Okay. Hey, now we're gonna move on to the main card. Here we go. We're gonna start with this match here. SmackDown Tag Team titles are on the line. The Bar versus the greatest tag team in the world, The Miz and Shane McMahon. I'm gonna let you start right off the bat here, Anthony. How do you feel about this? The build up, the match. Tell me everything, man. Tell me everything.
So I don't know why, but I kind of dig the build up to this match. I feel like as a wrestling fan that bitches about the way WWE does things so much that I should hate it, but it's just kind of fun. You know, like it's goofy. It's nice to see Miz not in this like serious heel role where he's like trying to be buddy buddy with a McMahon. Shane McMahon is there to win a belt because the McMahons always win belts when they have an opportunity to. That's my pick. But and I think the bar works really well working with goofy guys too, because they're these big, like very good wrestlers. You've listened to Smark to death for a long time. I'm a huge Sheamus guy. I'm a very big fan of Sheamus's work. I think he's fucking outstanding. And I just think like those like Cesaro and Sheamus are like they're wrestlers, right? Like that's their characters. That they're just wrestlers. And so I think that this match it probably won't be a great match. It will be a fun match.
Yeah.
But I look forward to it. I think the story's been fun. The Greatest in the World thing's a good goof. It's a nice, funny thing. It turned us not liking Shane McMahon winning Best in the World tournament at Saudi Arabia into a fun thing that's turned into I think a worthwhile storyline with them winning the belts, turning to a Shane McMahon heel turn, I believe.
Oh, eventually. That's interesting. Chat, let us know who you think, or who you feel is going to win here. You make an excellent point, though, that it did give some kind of justification to the goddamn Saudi Arabia bullshit. Let's just call it that. And that's something I hadn't thought of. And you touched on it. You touched on it. You know, having the Miz be in a position where he's not like, you know, the heel, like the typical Miz manipulative, serious guy. Now he gets, you know, he is in more babyface territory, but this whole build-up has nonetheless been very Miz-like. It's not like suddenly, man, are you like dropping blocks of wood onto your microphone?
I was trying to plug your stream, man.
Oh, thank you.
My keyboard's very loud. It's basically bricks of fuck.
But it was, yeah, the buildup was very Miz-like, you know, like it's not a complete face turn. No. Like he's not going into the audience and slapping hands and, you know, he weaseled his way into being friends with a McMahon because a McMahon is in a power situation. Like it's still very Miz, yet he's a baby face. You know, it's not like a complete turn. He's not doing, you know, oh, you guys have always stuck by me, you fans. You know, none of that stuff. So, I think that that Miz and Shane McMahon are going to win the titles. I really do. And but I also think that that Miz is going to. I think the predictable outcome is going to happen here because it is the best outcome to have Miz screw Shane over, especially since they've been bonding. You know that promo a couple of weeks ago when they were talking about their dads in the ring, and you're like, wow, okay, like this is, you know, they're getting us by the feels. So when Miz does decide to screw him over, holy shit, it's going to tear Shane McMahon apart, you know?
Yeah, no, I think so for sure. Someone mentioned in the chat too that they think the tag division should be fused, and that's a point I kind of want to touch on. And it spills into both tag divisions. Is the tag division in WWE is so bad that this is the best possible story outline they can give us in the tag division on either roster. Like, and this isn't a bad story. No, it's just that this is the only story in the tag division now.
And let's just. Further your point here, your idea. We're doing this story with two wrestlers who aren't even in a tag team normally, because sitting in the background you have Sanity and you have Gallus and Anderson,
right?
And the Bludgeon Brothers, apparently they're clear to come back.
Right.
What are you doing with your tag teams? The tag teams that were in the back. Whereas about a month ago, when everything was supposed to become fresh and new, you had Gallus and Anderson come out and win matches. You had Sanity interfere. Now, and we haven't seen them since. I think fusing the divisions, the tag team divisions, is a good idea. You know, there's even talk about fusing the women's division as well, which would make sense as well.
Yeah, it's weird though. Like I feel like it's a failsafe because if they fuse these divisions, like You fuse the tag teams, and now even less tag teams are going to be on television, and even less tag team storylines happen. So I don't think there's no way to save it. There's no way to save the division. They just don't have any tag teams, and the tag teams that do win are tag teams that don't exist, that aren't actual tag teams.
No,
the
exactly.
memorable tag teams are like Nicholas and Braun. Like, that was a meaningful moment, which is another reason why that happening is why winning over the Bar is why I feel very confident about McMahon and Miz winning. But
yeah, me too. All right. Well, I think we're in agreement pretty much so far. Things are going well. We're not heading into fisticuffs territory just yet. But let's see what happens with this next match. Oh, the SmackDown Women's title. The champion, Asuka, versus the man, Beckworth Lynchton. That's her real name. That's her Irish name.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. Beckworth
Lynchton.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Where are we at with Becky Lynch right now? How do we feel about her, Anthony?
You know, some people on the internet, on the Twitterverse that we are both on so frequently, are convinced that fans are turning on her. Not a chance, man. Not a chance.
No.
She's still super over. I don't have a problem with her braggadocious character she's using right now. I think that her coming out and like being aware that she is the most interesting thing in all of the division, her walking around this confidence that like, I'm the main event, I'm the attraction here. I think it works, and her character went heel, went tweener, and now she's just badass face. Yeah. Like, let's call it what it is. She's not a tweener. She's just a badass face. And I think it's fun. I think Becky Lynch is still doing great work. I think it's amazing that she's able to do this great of work this long in WWE, where sustainable gimmicks are not a thing.
No, exactly.
They're just not.
And especially a gimmick that they didn't want for her.
Right.
You know, and that's what makes it even more exceptional. It's something that WWE didn't want that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really interesting. And I agree. You know, I think, by the way, chat is going crazy right now. Asuka is, according to chat, is going to come out on top. But as far as Becky goes, I don't think she's losing steam either. What I think, though, what WWE has to be careful of, they have to be careful of two things in relation to her character. She has to stop with the always going back to, you know, people never, you know, they didn't believe in me for the past 2 years. I've been scratching and clawing my way back. You know, it works for a time, but then it's like, okay, now we just have to move forward. That's fine. And you know, I don't think we're exhausted of it yet, but to me, it's getting a bit tiresome. The other thing is that WWE has to remember the reason why we like her. It's because she goes into the ring and she kicks ass. She doesn't stand around chatting on a microphone too much. She just goes in, beats people up. That's what we want to see from Becky Lynch. So if they keep down that path, that's fine.
You know, I actually don't agree with you at all on that. I think that maybe you and I, as wrestling podcasters, wrestling self-proclaimed critics, I think maybe we care about, you know, wanting to see her wrestle and not her cut promos. But when Becky's in the ring cutting a promo, the audience doesn't talk.
No, I know.
They're very quiet. So I think that they actually are doing the right thing by having her come and do a lot of talking. She's a good promo. The crowd hangs on to every word she says. I'm worried about them peaking her character. Like, I'm worried that they're going to give her this massive win too soon, and then what do we do from there?
Right.
Like, Roman peaked at one point. He peaked when he finally triumphed Vince McMahon and Sheamus, you know, back when the what was it, the Legion of Evil Foreign Countries or whatever they were called? I don't know.
I think that's exactly what they were called.
Yeah. But, you know, like, he had his peak moment and he never got quite back there. That's what I'm worried about, is them really riding this momentum, peaking her at like a WrestleMania, and then we're over her. That's my concern.
What do you think? What do you got here? It's a tricky one, isn't it?
I've got Asuka winning because Asuka cannot take another loss. Becky can lose. Becky can take losses.
You know, I really this is probably the hardest one to call on the entire card because I feel that it is extremely storyline dependent. It depends on what they want to do with Ronda at WrestleMania because I think I you know, I don't think that there's much disagreement within the as you call us the sphere of wrestling podcaster and critiquers. I don't think
a million of us.
Yes. I don't think there's much disagreement to the idea that Becky and Ronda is the money match for WrestleMania. So it'll depend what they do from this point on. But you see, if I'm thinking storytelling, which I often like to think about when I'm booking these things, Asuka wins over Becky. Maybe Ronda has something to do with it. Maybe. Just putting that out there, but I think that she loses. She pulls a Roman Reigns and goes into the Royal Rumble. She wins the Rumble, and she goes after Ronnie. And I think that right now the Raw Women's Division needs an injection of someone like Becky Lynch to make it interesting.
You've got your fantasy booking with what happens with this match and the outcome and the Rumble and after is exactly my booking. That's exactly it. Yeah, Becky, because her character needs a loss, then goes to the Rumble, then this badass woman comes in and wins the Rumble after that. Her character, if they want to keep developing this character that they've done so well with, that she's done so well with, that's the next step. That's the next step in the next level. All right, and, you know, let Becky, who is what Ronda should be, beat Ronda. That'd be great.
I agree. John Baez in the chat. How you doing, John? He says, I still wish that they kept Asuka undefeated and she faced an undefeated Ronda at Mania. Honestly, that's how I would have booked it. I would have kept Asuka at the top of the women's division, have Ronda spend the entire year defeating people left and right and making Asuka the final boss and then getting the title at WrestleMania for Rousey. That's how I would have done it. But
I'm okay with the way the streak ended. That match was amazing.
Oh, the match was amazing. I mean, that's not a problem. All right. Next match that we have going here. Another women's title match. This time it is Ronda Rousey, Raw Women's Champion, against Sasha Banks. Thank goodness that we got the last couple of weeks of this feud, right? To really, and thank God for Sasha for giving it the lighten the fire of this feud, right?
You mean carrying the feud?
Yeah. Oh, okay. I was being conciliant, but go ahead, Anthony. Barrier. No, I'm kidding.
Man, Ronda just doesn't need to talk. You know, she's just, even when she's interviewed as Ronda Rousey, the woman, not the wrestler, she's just not great at it. She says a lot of really terrible things as a human. She says she's a terrible promo. It's great that I'm not a Sasha guy. I'm not a fan of Sasha. I've never really been a fan of Sasha. I don't like her ring work, but I do like this character work that she gave me on Monday. She's it. She's the shot in the arm that this feud needed, or else this was the pee break, because Ronda's going to win. She's not going to lose. But we might see an interesting way that Sasha loses and goes on to the next step, right? Yeah. In my mind, she's passing out from pain or something like that. She's going down hard, and we can move her into something more interesting. And maybe our idea that Becky goes to Raw, we get her over on SmackDown to give us some juice. But this feud still, even with that promo work, this feud does nothing for me. I just don't care about this match.
No, it's been rough. It's been a tough one, and you know the WWE didn't understand why people liked Ronda Rousey so much when she was in UFC. They just didn't get it. They don't understand.
No.
Ronda Rousey didn't come to the ring, smile, or the cage, the octagon, smiling, pulling stuff out of her gear and giving it to kids. Smiling and being happy, and then going against Holly Holm and saying, "I want to be your friend. I want us to fight, to have a good, respectful fight." She never did that. She went into the ring. She hated whoever she was in the ring with. She beat the shit out of them, and she left. You know,
Right.
the baddest woman on the planet. That's what she was in UFC. In WWE, they want her to be a super babyface, but that's not what endeared people to Ronda. Well, and plus, I mean, you know, she's not. She's charming. She's good looking. You know, there's something to say about that as well, especially in UFC. You know, where she stood out because she did have looks. All of this combined would have made a better Ronda Rousey push on one end. And you see the Sasha that we have here is the Sasha of NXT. And this NXT Sasha is the best Sasha. This is what we want. This is what we were begging for last year when she and Bayley were at odds before they got tossed into therapy. Like they were like Warren Hayes and Anthony Suter.
God, I forgot about that fucking angle.
That was awful.
Oh my!
And that's all we wanted. We wanted super babyface Bayley. We wanted bitch heel Sasha. That's what we wanted because those are their strengths. And Sasha has been showing it for the past couple of weeks again that her strength is just being a bitch.
I was really hoping we got to the point in the show where you would take the big gasp and do the big held word, because you do 2 to 3 of those a stream typically. I've gauged from Monday nights. Kristen and I keep tally on the side there. Doing it.
I like to see where I am in the running count. Then we'll have to share the spreadsheet with me.
Ran out of room. Lost the document. The document said, "Fuck off. I'm tired of keeping track." But yeah, someone said no fucks Sasha given. No fucks given Sasha is best Sasha. Yeah. It is, because you can't be a boss and be what did she say? Living the boss life is what Ronda said. Going around the world living the boss life, whatever the
sitting
hell.
Sitting in on board meetings, approving research and R&D budgets.
Making the company more profitable and all that shit.
Meeting investors. That's the boss. That's the boss life right there. Darren Kirby in the chat says, I liken Sasha to Randy Orton. She's coasted through this Bayley on and off story, but when she has something to get her teeth into, she really ups her game. And that's a very good point right there. It's
a perfect comparison. Yeah, it really is. I mean, just to touch last on Ronda. I'm sorry, man. I keep cutting you off. No, but just to touch on Ronda, like finally though, I agree with you, right? Like her big thing was not like. She just came in and she was a heel. UFC people didn't like her. They didn't like her. They didn't have to, because she just kept winning. Yeah. And this makes no sense what they're doing with her. She should have come in as a babyface and turned heel immediately. Yeah. And just come and knock, like just have her do that. And she's not even been good for ratings. 2.1 million. That's how it dropped from 2.7 to 2.1 with Ronda in the third hour. Nobody gives a fuck about Ronda.
Let's just touch quickly on it. You've seen the news today. Is she gone after WrestleMania? Do you think it's true?
No, it's bullshit. Meltzer's wrong.
It's complete. She'll probably just be on Lesnar time. Honestly, they're gonna.
Who signs a 1-year deal with WWE?
They would. WWE is dumb for a lot of shit, but. The allure of the mainstream attention is too big for them to just let her go.
Absolutely.
Who do you got here winning?
Come on, Ronda.
Yeah, it's self-evident. All right, let's talk about one of the Rumble matches, the women's one. This is funny because this is the picture that they have on WWE.com. It's like. Charlotte, Bayley, Natalya, and Nia Jax. Fuck the others. The Women's Rumble. I'm not going to run through the who's in it. I want us to talk about who do we think is going to win? Surprises. And I'd like to talk about the Iron Woman position. Like there's always one, right? Mm-hmm. So let's start with the most ordinary topic here, and that is who's going to win the Royal Rumble. Who do you think is going to win?
Becky.
If she can enter, right?
If she can enter, yeah, I think she's winning. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Becky won, even if she takes the title. I legitimately wouldn't. Just because if they're gonna fuse the titles, if they're gonna fuse the titles into one division. then give us the fusion match. Fusion match? What is this, Dragon Ball Z? The fusion match at WrestleMania between her and Ronda to unify the titles.
Yeah, that's interesting. Chat, by the way, let us know who you think is going to win. I agree. I exposed my fantasy booking earlier. I think Becky's going to win. But if it doesn't happen and Becky doesn't enter, I think Charlotte's going to win. I think that's inevitable.
It's those two.
It's going to be either one of those two who's going to win, and it entirely depends on whether Becky is in the match or not. That's my guess.
Yeah.
Surprise entrance, Anthony. Let's. Do you have 2 or 3 that you might be interested in seeing? Chat. Who do you think would be a surprise? A lot of people, by the way, in the chat are talking about Ember Moon, which is a good choice, but it's too early.
It's too early.
I think 2019 might be a breakout year for her, but because I think WWE really, really likes her, and there's plenty of reasons to love Ember Moon. That's not an issue. She basically carried the women's division through dark times with her excellent work ethic. But let's get back on track here. Surprise entrance in the Women's Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the women that are going to be in here. I do think Shayna Baszler shows up. Regardless of outcome at TakeOver. I do think Shayna Baszler is one of them. I don't know why in my mind I have Chelsea Green showing up, even though no one really knows who she is as a main roster. It's more of a want than an actual probably going to happen. But maybe Candice LeRae. That would be a nice surprise, I think. I think Candice LeRae would organically be over just because she's very clearly a white meat babyface that the young kids will love immediately. Toughest cupcake or whatever she called herself.
I think that's what it is, right? I agree. Shayna's going to be in there. If memory serves me right, over the past couple of years, the women's NXT, the NXT Women's Champion has been in every Royal Rumble, so it makes sense for Shayna to be in there, and I think it makes sense for the main roster to get acquainted with Shayna Baszler because she is not left. She's not. There's not much time left. Long. There's not much time left for her in NXT. Her coming up onto main roster is imminent. I think they're going to bring Rhea Ripley in. I really do. I think WWE loves this girl, and with reason. She's fantastic. And Casey Catanzaro, who was in the Mae Young Classic, and she's homegrown WWE talent, right? Like she's the first time she started training at the PC, and she's got. She's small. She's extremely charming. I think she's a good fit to come in, hit a couple of high spots, Hurricane Ranas, then get tossed out by Nia Jax, unfortunately. But that's who I think.
Some people are saying Toni Storm as well, and I think that you'll get Toni Storm and not Rhea Ripley.
Oh yeah,
you'll get the champ. So? You'll get the champ.
I think we're gonna get Rhea Ripley.
I'm happy with either or both.
I think we're going to get her. Iron Woman. Who's going to last the longest in here? The Bret Hart. Because historically speaking, Bret Hart is the original Iron Man of the Royal Rumble, having lasted, I think it was 23 minutes, something like that, in the first 1998 Royal Rumble that I reviewed over on FightfulSelect.com. FightfulSelect.com. Subscribe today. $5 a month.
That's as quick as you've ever plugged Fightful. Never been more proud of you in the year that I've known you than I am in this moment right now. Nikki Cross, I think, will be the Iron Woman.
That's interesting.
Just because I think they've played so much into her character being insane in the little bit of time that she showed up, and they kept her a match with Becky just out of the blue. Even though she lost fairly quickly, she still looked pretty good. I think they want to treat Nikki Cross well. I do. I think they treated her well in NXT. They always kept her looking pretty strong. So last year it was Sasha in the first ever. I don't know. I have a feeling Nikki Cross is making it nearly the distance.
It's a good choice and it makes sense. And there's a lot of people in the chat who are agreeing with my pick, which is Ember Moon, because I think she won't win, but I think this is how they will make her shine. She will have the longest the longest stay in the Rumble for sure. At least that's what I think.
Darren Kirkby says Naomi will not last the longest. She'll be the Kofi. She'll do some weird athletic spot.
Yeah,
that's her spot in the Rumble.
I agree, because that's what she did last year. She was the Kofi last year.
She was. Yep, she will be forever.
All right, so let's talk about the dudes then. Again, and they had the balls to put Jinder Mahal here, as if there's ever, anyone that considers him to be a threat for anything. Former WWE champion Jinder Mahal. Excuse me. Forgot to preface that properly. So let's do the same. Let's talk about winner, surprise entrance, and Iron Man. Who do you think is going to win first, Anthony? And Chad, go nuts. Go nuts.
Seth fucking Rollins is winning this Rumble.
I think it's his to win.
Doesn't matter who wins the main event. Or this will be probably the main event. Doesn't matter who wins the Universal title match. Seth is winning because either matchup is perfect for Seth to get inserted in.
Yeah, I agree. And even when it was still Braun and Brock, regardless, where I was like, oh, Brock is winning. I mean, to me, it just makes perfect sense for Seth to dethrone Brock. Seth has carried Raw throughout all of 2018, throughout the injuries, throughout the terrible matches and shitty storylines. He has been the shining star of the brand.
Nobody deserves the Rumble win more than Seth Rollins now. Despite the fact that I hated the promo work he was given the other day, because that really deeply disturbed me. But he didn't do that. It was written for him. I have to remember that, or I get very angry. But no, Seth is fantastic. He's done a great job. He works in either matchup. And he should be your top guy. Like, let's not assume Roman's coming back. It's sad to say, but let's assume this is the status that WWE have. Seth is on ESPN all of the time.
Yeah, that's true.
He plays video games. He's on Up, Down, Down. He's gone to video game tournaments. This man has more crossover appeal than every other man that's not Brock Lesnar. And
it's the kind of crossover appeal that they wanted out of Roman as well. And I mean, Roman carries himself like a pro as well. That's not the point.
He didn't show up anywhere, though.
No, he didn't show up anywhere because you know what? Because Seth, he looks and talks like a guy, just a dude. Where Roman, it's the reason why underdog Roman Reigns didn't work. Roman Reigns is like 6'7", former football player. He's not a goddamn underdog. He doesn't look like an underdog. I have women fawning over him all the time. Right.
He looks like one of the guys that maybe did not get cast for Aquaman because Jason Momoa got it.
Exactly.
He just looks like a DC CGI superhero. But yeah, it's got to be Seth. It's got to be Seth.
I don't see who else it could be. Surprises. Surprise us. Who should be surprise entrance here?
Aleister Black.
Yes!
Velveteen Dream.
I think Velveteen Dream is a shoo-in. And I'm going to tell you why. Because he is doing that Worlds Collide tournament at Access. They're not just going to bring Velveteen over just for that shit little thing that, that'll get Twitter excited about, but that's about it. Velveteen is going to be there because he's not on TakeOver.
Right.
But they're flying him in for Access? Nah, man. He's in the Rumble. That is a shoo-in as far as the surprise goes.
Velveteen Dream will get such a big pop.
Yeah.
Such a big pop. And I think that's his main roster debut. I think he's done with NXT. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing else. He's never going to be champ there. It's too crowded. It's time for him to go over. SmackDown and Raw could use someone like him. Man, Raw could really use a character like him. They need characters so badly. So badly. And let's go with the third one. I'll go with Kyle O'Reilly. Ooh. I'm going all NXT because I never know what legends. I don't like to play that game.
And let's be frank, it's always sucky when a legend comes because they're not going to win.
It's a waste of spot.
It's a waste of a spot. It's just maybe a feel good thing.
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm going to go with Bray Wyatt making his return.
Okay.
Lights go out, fireflies. He's going to get a tremendous pop if they do that. It's going to fucking rule. And I can't wait for Bray to come back. I'm a
Yeah, me
big
too.
Bray guy. Can't wait for him to come back. I think they fly Pete Dunne in.
Oh,
I think they fly him in. You know, they want to build off the momentum that the buzz that they generated with Blackpool. Pete Dunne is, I mean, he's the longest running champion of modern day WWE. So let's just pop him in there, have him eliminate a couple of dudes, and Kona Reeves.
Conor Reeves. Warren, do you mean that you're not going to pick the Terminator?
No, I'm not. Nope.
You're not going to pick Kenny Omega?
Nope.
No, because he's not going to be there.
He's not going to be there.
He's not going to be there.
Blaine says Walter so he can chop everybody.
I don't know if I have the stomach to watch him chop people through the Rumble. I don't know if I can handle. I take that back. I watch death matches. Yes, let's do it.
And who's our Iron Man? Who's the guy who's going to last the longest?
It was Finn last year, right?
It was Finn last year.
Because he came in at 2 and lasted to the final 4, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, this is tough, actually.
Not an easy one, eh?
No, it's really tough for this one. I'm
gonna go with Andrade Cien Almas. Or no, I'm going with Mustafa Ali.
Yeah,
because that works perfectly into his character. It works perfectly into how they're establishing him. The heart, you know, takes a beating and keeps on ticking, kind of thing. Mustafa Ali is going to be the Iron Man. I think they're putting a lot of faith into him, and I think he's going to eliminate Samoa Joe as well.
I'm so glad I didn't answer before I saw Darren Kirkby and JPQ answer. I'm stealing their answer. Elias.
Really? Oh, that would do wonders for him.
I don't think he needs a lot, but this would legitimize him as like not just a character, but also a wrestler.
Yeah, but I mean, they've had him lose so many times to Baron Corbin at this point, man.
Right.
They've got to give him something.
I love Elias. I'm a big Elias guy.
Yeah, Elias is good.
I have been.
All right, well, there you go. Those are our Rumble matches. Should be a lot of fun. It's always a good time. So we got our 2 main events coming up, title shots. We're going to start by talking about the new Daniel Bryan, WWE Champion, squaring off against the conservative redneck AJ Styles.
As a man that does not necessarily love the fact that I live in Texas, AJ's the heel for me.
Yeah, well,
he's the heel for me.
I can't remember who was talking about this today. Was it us? Was it us in our little secret DM thing with Kristen Ashley?
I don't know if that was it. We're gonna get a lot of shit for not mentioning her until 70 minutes in.
Oh God,
it's gonna be bad.
Yeah,
but I think it's probably from Smart to Death if you listen to us, because Kyle and I talked about this last night.
Yes, exactly.
We talked about how he never said one way or another, but Daniel Bryan's way of like wanting to save the environment is super face for me. He's definitely my face. And he's my winner. Gonna be a damn good match. It'll be another great match.
And now that you reminded me that I did listen to the live recording anyway on your Patreon, because I'm a member. You guys should go support Smark to Death, by the way. Give them all your money.
All of it, please.
You guys did mention, and you made an excellent point, that, you know, they had their really hot grappling technical match last time, but this time it's going to be a slappy slapper. You know, it's going to be, and when you guys said that, I was like, yes. I mean, I think this is what we expect this time. It's going to be the brutal one. It's going to be the one where they just beat the shit out of each other.
Right. I like, if Daniel Bryan retains, I like that with the WWE title, actually, even both main titles, really long reigns, and I'm really about that. I think it legitimizes who's the champion. No more hot potato. I'm really enjoying that. Even with Brock not being on TV and having it, like, it makes the moment that someone is finally dethroned so much bigger for the character that's chosen.
How shocked were we when Daniel Bryan defeated AJ on a goddamn edition of SmackDown?
Well, I mean, let me be honest with you. After I found out it was happening at the beginning of the show, not at all. But that it even happened on a random-ass Tuesday.
Yeah, that's
was
it. That's the point.
Wild.
It was wild. So who do you think retains here?
Spoiler alert there. Yeah, it's Daniel Bryan that's going to retain here.
Yes, and I agree. And here's the question then that follows, that the follow-up. What the hell do you do with AJ Styles now? Right?
You know, I think that works though for him. And I don't know why I think that works for AJ Styles. Like, I think you can move him wherever you want. I think they might finally move him to Raw. I think that they can. Now that Daniel Bryan has been legitimized, like when AJ was originally rumored to be moved to Raw, they didn't have another guy.
That's true.
They just didn't. But let's say a certain underdog Irishman wins. AJ versus Finn is a really nice looking matchup when it's for the big red Charmeleon belt. So I don't know. Whatever. We can move AJ. AJ needs to have some fresh blood. He's got to move over, make him a Grand Slam champ. He needs to win the IC title. He needs to win tag belts and give him the Universal title. He needs to win all of those in the next 2 years.
See, and Gwyn Evans in the chat, I agree with what he what was just added here. Move AJ to Raw after Mania. He's done everything on SmackDown. That's the truth. I mean, he needs the fresh matches now. All the fresh matches are on the other side. Him versus Seth. You know, it's like they're all there.
The chat's also pointing out that Styles is probably taking some time off and getting a less demanding schedule. His contract is up soon, so I wouldn't be surprised if he does get a Randy Orton deal. Yeah. Where he like works consistently for a while, then he fucks off for a little bit and then comes back. He deserves it. He's done enough already.
Over the entirety of his career and how he's been a shining star in WWE since the moment he came in.
Right. Literally since his music hit. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Final match of the evening. Anthony. Brock Lesnar, Universal Champion, against Finn Balor. It's weird how I'm sick of Brock as champion, but I still manage to get excited with matches like this. Like when he fought Daniel Bryan, when he fought AJ, these matches where I'm like, holy crap, this is going to be fun. And he gets motivated when he fights certain guys, smaller guys. He puts in a little extra oomph in what he does. And motivated Brock is great. Brock, it's great for all of us.
Can we admit something together?
Kyle I love you.
It.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, I love you too, man. It hurts to say it because you have to hate Brock as a WWE fan. We have to.
Yeah.
Because he's never there. When Brock gives a shit, you could say he's the best wrestler in the world. You could. You could make that case. That Daniel Bryan match, his facial expressions when he works with guys he wants to are so good. He sells well. Like, he sold great for Goldberg when he lost. He sold great for Taker and all their feuds. He sold great for Joe. He sold great for AJ. And he's going to sell great for Finn when he puts him over on Sunday. Because he's taking that pin. It's going to be dirty. It's going to be dirty because Finn is not winning clean. I think he's turning heel. I think the club I think the club is showing up to help him.
Really?
I think the club or Braun are getting involved somehow.
That's a bold prediction.
It is a bold prediction. And here's why. Vince McMahon got involved. Yeah. John Cena got involved. SmackDown talked about Finn. They're like, they really love this guy. And what does Vince McMahon do to everyone we love? He fucking turns them heel, Warren. That's what he does.
That's true. But I also think that I think there's a lot still to do for him as a babyface. And he's on fantastic momentum right now. Yes. He had his surprise appearance at TakeOver Blackpool. Everyone lost their shit when that happened.
He worked a little heel.
A little bit, but I mean, Jordan Devlin was the clear-cut heel here. That and Jordan Devlin is he's akin to godliness. Just saying. So he's on good momentum. I also think he's going to defeat Brock, But I don't think there are going to be shenanigans. I think he's going to pull it off out of grit and pure underdog status. I think that having the promo last Monday where Vince McMahon is in the ring and he's telling Finn Balor straight to his face, look at these two big guys here. I don't believe in fairy tales. You're not going to do it. I think they telegraphed the ending to the match here. I really, really do. You have Vince in the ring saying, I don't believe in you. Are you fucking kidding me? Of course he's going to win. They made it on purpose. They did it on purpose to have Braun and Brock in the ring at the same time as Finn to show how tiny Finn was. They didn't bring Seth Rollins, who's arguably about the same size, or Apollo Crews. They brought the big guys in to really drive the point home that this guy doesn't stand a chance.
Right. And it was telegraphed. We were talking about that Monday night during it. It's like, it's like, all right, Finn's coming out and like Heyman's now clearly putting him over like he does. I mean, it's the same outline. He tells the same promo. He does the same promo with everybody, right? So he comes out. But there's multiple sides on top of that. Besides all of these other things that you point out, Cena put him over after he won the week before and said, I believe in Finn Balor. Said, I believe in him. Then Braun's like, oh, I don't believe in you, little guy. I'm an ogre. But Brock only gave him one F5. One single F5 and left. And I feel like usually whenever, I don't know, I'm just making these things up in my head probably, but usually Brock gives a lot of F5s to guys that he's going to be facing that weekend. But he gave one and deuced out.
And Brock stood tall at the end of the segment. And that's usually, it can be a tell. It's not a universal tell, but it can.
The rule doesn't apply to Brock Lesnar typically.
No, that's true.
But it generally is the kiss of death.
Yes.
It means you're losing. And it doesn't matter. This match is probably going to be very good. I don't know if it's going to be a match. I don't know if it's going to be match of the weekend. I don't know if it's going to be the top match of the show. But if it ends up stealing the weekend, because there's like rumors that Brock has wanted to work with Finn Balor since last year. Mm-hmm. And if that's true, that means Brock wants to put him over, I would think, if he still wants to work with him.
Match of the weekend is going to be Ricochet versus Johnny Gargano.
For sure.
I'm just tossing that out there.
NXT tag teams for me.
It's funny because chat are talking, they're talking about Devitt, right? Prince Devitt. So maybe, I think maybe a lot of people that are giving credence to your theory. Daniel Price says Devitt could, I think that's awesome. Devitt could still win by DQ, but the title ain't changing hands, he says. And no, Warren, he disagrees with me. Jesus Christ. Oh. Them saying fairy tale over and over would be way too obvious and make Devitt winning look like a total joke. See, the thing is that I think that if Finn Balor doesn't win, it's a shot to his credibility at this stage because of the whole underdog thing. You're too small. I honestly think he's going to win.
I legitimately think he's going to win. I think Brock is on his way to the UFC for a little bit. And like, let's be real. Do we really want Brock bringing his fake fighting belt to real fighting? Do we really want that?
No.
I mean, maybe does WWE really think that's a marketing tool that's going to work well?
However, you can make an argument that the Universal title looks better than the new UFC titles, though.
Oh, the Dragon Tour titles. Yes. Mighty Morphin UFC Rangers.
Yes, yes.
That title fucking blows. Oh, my God.
It's really so bad. Anthony, we're going to wrap this one up. This was a lot of fun. So we went through everything. What do you think? Is it going to be a good show, a middling show, or a bad show?
There's a lot of bias for me because the Royal Rumble is so fun. Last year's Rumble was so good. Mm-hmm. It was such a good show. I actually remember that I watched that show with the guys over at Wrestle Forever last year on their live stream. Back when Kyle did that before he bailed for me. I was the prettier girl. So, whatever. But anyway, yeah, it was a good time. I hope you enjoyed that stall there for the segue. Anyway, yes, I think the Rumble will be good. I think we're talking I think the floor is probably a B show. We like to do letter grades with Smart to Death, so I think it's a B show at minimum.
Yeah,
I'm expecting good things.
I'm expecting good things. I think we have solid main events If they book the Rumbles like they did last year, it'll be a lot of fun.
Yes.
I think they have. I think we have some dark horse mid card matches there. Nothing that'll blow us out of the water, but it will keep us entertained. I think it's going to be a fun show.
I think that Finn Balor doing well against Brock Lesnar may blow some people out of the water. I think some of his maybe doubters that are his fans that don't really like Finn, they think he's just a small, kicky guy, I think might be impressed by it. But hardcore fans, man, if we end up, well, I think if they give us what you and I predicted, Seth and Finn, we get Seth and Finn, I think that a lot of fans we're going to feel like Vince McMahon is listening to us. It's going to be a nice feeling if that happens.
It's going to be a match for the fans, that one. And honestly, I think that's what a main event of WrestleMania should be. It has to be for the fans, because Vince has not been giving main events for the fans over the past few WrestleManias. And
Roman versus Taker? I don't know.
No.
It's for the fans. It's for the fans. We were all happy.
Anthony, I want to thank you very much for joining me. Why don't you splurge, man? Tell all the good folks where they can find everything Smark to Death, Anthony Suter, your merch. You got tons of merch, don't you?
We do. We have lots of merch. So, guys, if you did enjoy my verse here on the Mr. Warren Hayes Show, you can join me and my co-host Kyle basically wherever podcasts are. At this point, we can basically just, if you follow us on Twitter, we're probably just going to shove our content down your throat, so you'll find us somewhere. Stitcher, Podbean, iTunes, Spotify, wherever. We do live stream just like most people do nowadays, twitch.tv/smarktodeath. Some of the guys here that watch live do join us, like Baba Ruski and JPQ, Chris and Ashley. We do salute them. Mr. Warren Hayes never joins us, so whatever.
No, but because you guys stream on Wednesday nights, and I'm busy on FightfulSelect.com. FightfulSelect.com. Subscribe today. $5 a month. You get all sorts of extra podcasts, including my 205 Live NXT UK recap show live every Wednesday night. So that's why I can't join you guys. I'm working, goddammit.
How the fuck did I set that segue up?
It's a wham!
Anyway, we're gonna our anniversary show is this week. Please come hang out and watch us for that. We are turning 1 year old.
Really? That's
I don't know. Paris talked about getting us a smash cake. I don't know. That's probably not going to happen. We don't follow through on any promises. But join us, twitch.tv/smarktodeath. We're turning 1 year old. We're selling shirts starting Sunday at prowrestlingtees.com/smarktodeath using promo code SMARKTODEATH to get 20% off.
And speaking of Sunday, just to remind the good folks, I'm going to be jumping over onto your podcast. I'm going to be talking to Kyle for the first time.
Yes, you are.
On Sunday, after the Royal Rumble, we'll be joining the Smark to Death guys for their post show. And if you guys are all hanging around here right now, you're on YouTube and you're like, oh, okay, what's coming up next? I'm going to be joining Spees in the Benchmark in like a little over 30 minutes. I'm going to be talking NXT TakeOver with them. And it's become a tradition. They invite me at every NXT, and it's a lot of fun. I love those guys. They have a great show, so I'm looking forward to it. But right now, it's all about you, Anthony. Thank you so very much. You're a friend, and I appreciate you coming on the show. You're a great guy. You guys do fantastic work. No, but it's true. I want to.
Lord.
No, but I mean, it goes beyond just professional courtesy. We're buds. And I'm really happy that we got to do this. We should do it more often.
Absolutely, we should.
And I want to thank absolutely. And I want to thank everyone who was in the chat live tonight. Was jumping, a lot of discussion, a lot of stuff going on. I want to thank if you weren't in the chat and you're listening on your own time. Thank you very, very much. Consider subscribing if you're not already there on youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes or on your favorite podcast application as well. I'm there as well. You can follow me on Twitter or on Instagram at Mr. Warren Hayes. Guys, thank you all so very, very much for joining me, and I'll see you next time.